In 2004, I was 17, freshly moved from a small country town into the city for the first time. I was there for college, which still sounds wild to say out loud, because I didn't feel like a college student. I felt like a kid wearing an adult's backpack. During the day, the city felt exciting. Noise, lights, constant motion. At night, though, it changed faces. That night I'd been out, later than I should have. Nothing dramatic, no party, no drinking, just talking in a dorm lounge, until I looked up and realized it was around 1:30 a.m. My room was on campus, technically not far. I'd walked it in the daytime, so I did what a young, dumb 17-year-old does when she's trying to prove something to herself. I decided to walk. The first few blocks were fine. Quiet, but normal quiet. My phone was in my pocket, my dorm key on a lanyard, and I had this stubborn confidence that because I wasn't doing anything wrong, nothing wrong would happen to me. Then I took a wrong turn. Maybe it wasn't even wrong at first. Maybe I just kept going because turning back felt like admitting I didn't know where I was. The blocks got emptier. Storefronts disappeared. Street lights spaced out, and then some of them stopped working altogether. The darkness didn't hit all at once. It crept in, patch by patch, like the city was missing teeth. Trash collected along the sidewalks. I heard loud arguments from inside a row house, the kind you don't want to accidentally step into. A few buildings looked half abandoned. The air smelled like old smoke and pavement that never really cooled down. I remember thinking, I wouldn't want to be here in the middle of the day, and I was here at 1:30 in the morning. I checked my surroundings the way you do when you're trying to convince yourself you're in control. I counted intersections. I looked for any sign that said which neighborhood I'd wandered into. My phone screen lit up in my palm, barely any battery. So I didn't call anyone. I didn't want to admit I was lost. I didn't want to sound dramatic. Somewhere behind me, a door slammed. Farther down the block, glass crunched under a footstep that wasn't mine. Every little sound felt amplified, and I kept telling myself it was just my imagination getting carried away. But the street kept getting darker. I slowed down without meaning to, and that's when I heard a car behind me. Not the sound of a car passing. This was a steady crawl, tires whispering over the road like it was trying not to announce itself. I kept walking, but every nerve in my body tilted backward. The car crept closer, then matched my speed. For a full block, it stayed there, close enough that the headlights stretched my shadow out in front of me. Close enough that I could hear the engine idling low, like it had all the time in the world. I told myself there was an explanation. Maybe they were looking for an address. Maybe they were lost. But the street was empty. No other pedestrians, no open stores, just me in that slow car. I risked a glance. There were 5 men inside. I can't describe them clearly now. I just remember 5 silhouettes filling the windows, faces turned toward me, and the way my stomach dropped, like my body recognized danger before my brain admitted it. The intersection ahead came into view under a street light that flickered, like it was deciding whether to stay on. I thought, if I can just make it to that corner, I can turn somewhere brighter. The car moved first. It rolled up beside me, drifted ahead, and made a left at the intersection, slow, almost casual. For half a second, my brain tried to believe that was it. Then the car stopped, right in the middle of the street, directly in my path, tail lights glowing red like two eyes. I stopped too. I could feel my pulse at my fingertips. I remember noticing stupid details. The hum of the street light, the shine of my own breath in the air, the way my shoes suddenly felt too loud. It's strange what your brain chooses to record when it thinks you might not get another chance. I didn't run, I didn't turn around. I just stood there on the sidewalk, facing that car like I'd been ordered to. My mind went blank, empty, like everything I'd ever rehearsed about what I'd do, drained out instantly. This is it, I thought. This is how it happens. And then, a porch light snapped on, not the street light, the house just past the car, on the corner, a warm yellow circle spilling across the steps and onto the sidewalk like a spotlight. A man walked out carrying a bag of trash. He didn't rush. He didn't scan the street like a hero. He just stepped onto the porch and looked around like he was deciding where to toss it. The car reacted immediately. The engine revved. The brake lights flashed. And then it peeled away so fast the tires squealed, vanishing down the cross street as if it had never been there at all. The sudden absence of it made me weak. My knees went soft. My throat tightened. The moment the car disappeared, my body finally allowed itself to feel what it had been holding back. I started crying, shaking so hard I couldn't stand still. The man on the porch turned, surprised. "Hey," he called, "are you okay?" I tried to explain, but it came out scrambled. Something about a car, about men, about being followed. I couldn't make it sound logical because it hadn't felt logical. It had felt like a nightmare. He didn't laugh. He didn't tell me I was overreacting. He just listened, nodding slowly like he'd heard enough to understand the important part. "Come inside," he said, "you're shaking." Every warning in my head tried to flicker on. Don't go into a stranger's house, don't. But the porch light was bright, and the street was dark, and I was 17 and alone. So I went. Inside, the house smelled normal, late-night food and laundry detergent. He sat me down and handed me a soda, cold and sweating in the can. My hands trembled so badly I almost dropped it. He called for his roommate, and another guy appeared, sleepy-eyed, asking what happened. I told the story again, a little clearer this time, and they traded a look that said, "Yeah, okay. We're not letting her walk alone. We'll take you back," the first guy said like it was the most obvious thing in the world. They walked me to campus on either side of me. The streets looked different with two other people there. Less empty, less hungry. I didn't stop looking over my shoulder until the dorm lights were in sight. At the entrance, I kept apologizing, saying I must have been stupid. "Don't," he said. "You're safe now." Before they left, one of them added almost casually, "We do stand up. If you ever want to come by sometime." I never saw them again. I don't remember their names. I just remember the timing. How a trash bag and a porch light changed everything. Sometimes I think about how close I came to a different version of my life. One where the porch light never turns on. All I have left from that night is the memory of red tail lights blocking the road, and the sound of that porch light clicking on, like the universe decided at the last second to give me another chance. and I've never walked alone at 1:30 a.m. again.